Hello, everybody. Welcome to Case by Case. Um, Today has been a long day for me. I have been working on this case all day, communicating with people in the area, trying to get the prosecutor or the defense attorney to respond since the PCA is up in the air as far as is it sealed, is it not sealed? Um, you never know in these cases because legally these things are supposed to be public and you just have to put the pressure on. So that's what I've tried to do today. We are diving into episode 2 of the Wilmer, Alabama quadruple homicide of Lisa Fields and her children. I have given everybody close to this case an opportunity to come on and speak. I have given everybody an invitation to come on and set the record straight. So far, outside of those who are communicating with me behind the scenes, those publicly involved who have spoke to the media, who have now decided they don't want to, I have offered many opportunities and they don't want to come on and speak. So we are going to dive into information that I have acquired in the last week, and we're going to discuss this case. So let's get to it.
We got that fire. Yeah, I'm on a mission, mind in position. No witness, just a puzzle and a premonition. Facts hit the pavement, no hesitation. Reading between the lines, the investigation. Case by case, got that fire. Fire. Case by case, got that fire. Oh yeah. Case by case, got that fire. That's right, yeah, 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 yeah. Zooming on the details, got the magnifier. Digging through the dark, taking it higher. No room for doubt, no place to retire. Burning through the evidence, a digital pyre. Case by case, got that fire. Get it? Case by case, got that fire. Yeah, yeah. Case by case, got that fire. A search engine's a weapon, a network's my stage. Flipping through the data, turning a new page. They leave digital footprints, a trail on the wire. Chasing down the truth, yeah, that's my desire. From the deep web's core to the public display, uncovering the secrets, putting them on full array. It's a digital trail, a modern day chase for the truth and the facts in this digital space. Yeah, like and subscribe. Another one down. Over and now. Case by case, got that fire.
Hey guys, good to see you all. This today is going to be kind of a recap of last week's episode, plus additional information. I have a lot to say. I've had a long day. I've been planting flowers and went to lunch and taking care of stuff around the house. That's why I'm not showing my face, because I didn't have time to take a shower. So anyway, welcome everybody. Glad to see all of you here. We are diving into, I don't even know what we're diving into. I have had a lot of communication with a lot of people behind the scenes in regards to what this case is about. And I've reached out to the prosecutor. I have reached out to the defense attorney, and I have reached out to the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department is telling me that we are going to need a subpoena to get the probable cause affidavit. I call bullshit. just like with any other case, the probable cause affidavit should be public, especially since the clerk of courts in Mobile County is telling me that it's public. They're just playing hardball, so I'm going to continue. If I have to send multiple FOIA requests to get this, I will do that. But in the meantime, we have tons of speculation, rumors, and I have reached out to Nathan Fields, the father, the husband, to come on and share his thoughts. I've not gotten a response. He didn't decline, he just didn't respond. I have reached out to numerous people who have posted with pertinent information that don't want to be named, don't want to be public. I get that. Not the first time that we've covered a case and that with that type of sentiment. Gene Williams, Nathan wouldn't deny or admit that drugs were in the home. Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. First and foremost, the most important thing to me right now is these three right here. Zakiyah, the little girl, and the boyfriend, fiance. She was 8 months pregnant with his child. There was a GoFundMe link available. Now that Zakiyah is gone, sadly, with the baby, Dad has come back from Alaska and has taken on full responsibility of his child. And there was a GoFundMe, and I had it. I emailed it to myself, so I had it. And for whatever reason, the link is dead. First and foremost, I would, if there's an active link for a GoFundMe to help him take care of his little girl who was left in the house unharmed, I would love to have that link so I can share it. So if anybody out there has that link, please share it with me. I copied it and pasted it into my email, and now for whatever reason, the link is dead. And I feel that there's multiple GoFundMes in this case, but this is the one that I feel is most important to help him take care of his baby. Michelle says, I know that one of the GoFundMes was paused. There was multiple, and I don't know which one was which. All I care about is the one that was created for him and for the baby.
One more thing.
Okay, hang on one second, guys. Okay, sorry, I'm back. We're trying to finalize our vacation plans for August. Ugh. Has the defense requested a grand jury? Gene Williams, I don't know. I emailed the defense attorney today and haven't heard back. He's probably a little bit timid in communicating with someone like myself, which is silly because I'm not your average YouTuber. I'm not here to get clicks or anything like that. I mean, if I was, I would be covering an ungodly amount of cases. I focus on certain cases, like for prime example, Stephen Avery, Ashley Garth, Delphi. I can't deep dive a case and cover other cases. I just can't. I don't work that way. When I fixate on a case, like I'm fixating on this, I have to keep all of the information that's coming in funneled to this case. So I don't know. they've already served a warrant. They've already arrested someone. I can't imagine that they would require a grand jury indictment for this case. I think what we're dealing with now is we have a defense attorney who knows his shit and is willing to put up a fight. He's not just a public defender. He's saying, hey, shit's not adding up, and we're not just going to fall over and play dead. That's where I think the case is. And, you know, in a criminal case like this, checks and balances need to be checked and balanced. And when there's serious questions about the motive, who's involved, timelines that are obscured, the prosecutor and the defense cannot argue with the public about why the door was left open. They left the door open, leaving, when certain cases are scrutinized, the door is left open. So all we have to do is walk through it and hold people accountable. And in this case, that's what's happening. Hey, Crafty's Bold. Hey, Mother of Dragons. I can't stay. My head is unable to focus today on anything new. Sorry, just a shit day. I get you. Under your scars. Love you. Okay, so here's the thing. Crafty's Bold. So this is parallel to another case that I cover, Delphi. When you're talking about, well, he's a public defender, but he has a law firm. So in most states, public defender's office has a limited amount of attorneys that only work cases as a public defender, meaning as a case come in, they're assigned, they take on the job. Yet, it's not enough. It's never enough. There's never enough public defenders to cover an entire state worth of criminal cases, any case that requires a public defender to defend them. There's not enough attorneys. So what happens is the state recruits law firms, and they ask that they go into like a lottery. And as a general practitioner of law or someone who has their own law firm with multiple lawyers involved, they say, okay, we will sign up to be in the lottery. It's not called a lottery, but I'm just giving that as an example. To where when a high profile case like this comes about, of course, the state doesn't want to hand it off to an inexperienced public defender or a public defender who has never handled a serious murder case. So what they do is they go into the pool of law firm lawyers who have offered up, I will put myself in the lottery, and when I'm called upon, I will represent a client. That is quite possibly, I'm not saying emphatically, I'm saying possibly what has happened here. This attorney, by no means, I've looked into him. He has his own law firm. He knows his shit. And I believe that he was contacted by the state and said, hey, we need you to sign on to this case. And he said, okay. And I think that now that he has signed on and he has gone through the probable cause affidavit, which we don't have, the probable cause affidavit is the storyline. It is going to tell us These are the movements of William Graham Oliver. This is why we were able to obtain not only an arrest warrant, but a search warrant. Those things are their priority in a criminal case. Why? Because if the search warrant is bogus, if the arrest warrant is bogus, and someone can prove it, then it's not going to be valid. And then you are subject to a Franks hearing where it all gets thrown out and the charges are dismissed. Walsh, the defense attorney, Walsh, is he is a good attorney. I've went through his background. I emailed him today. Maybe he'll respond tomorrow or the next day. I know that all defense attorneys have court in the morning. He's probably backlogged, but at the end of the day, if William Oliver couldn't pay for a better attorney. That's all I'm going to say. Walsh is a great attorney, and he's coming forth and he's claiming that the state has a lot of explaining to do. Okay, well, that's what all defense attorneys say. Gene Williams, I don't know if he's handled death penalty cases. I really don't know. And it doesn't matter because 92% of cases that are legit cases for death penalty, they get pled down. Not many states in this country anymore want to uphold the death penalty. And you're talking 25 to 35 years before a death penalty execution takes place. My position is this: if you're a criminal and you're convicted and you were sentenced to the death penalty is a easy out. I would rather see somebody suffer for the rest of their lives in prison with, minimal access to real life experiences. That to me is the death penalty. I know that some people think that, quick and short, to me, that's the easy way out. But who am I? Kathy, hey, lurking here. Kathy, you can lurk every day of the week. I don't care. I love you. I miss talking to you. I hope your puppy's doing okay. Oh, I love you. So let's dig in. And before I dig in, I want to know in chat, those of you who I know are lurking, there's a lot lurking. Send me some questions. Send me some poignant questions on what you want to discuss, because I have a lot. And I really want to address the problems in this case that are important to family members and people associated with the case. And it's literally 50-50. I have 50% of the community reaching out to me saying, oh my God, thank you for covering the case, because nobody else is, giving me information. And then the other 50% is saying, F you, you suck, you got this wrong, but they don't want to give me a correction. They don't want to tell me the truth. They just want to say I'm wrong. And my thing is that I'm here to report the facts. Facts, facts, facts. I have reached out to every single person that I can find in all of these Facebook discussion groups. And what's so weird to me about this case is that people are joining a Facebook discussion group to discuss the case, and they're attacking each other for discussing the case. It's bizarre to me. I'm like, okay, why are you here? If you aren't here to talk about the case and you want to emphatically post, let the investigators work it out, shut your mouth until trial. Okay, well, why are you here? Because I can tell you first and foremost that, and not to sound ambiguous, but people like me who I really try to report equal coverage, guilt, innocent, and in between. I'm not here to decide publicly who's innocent or guilty. What I want to do is present the case and all of the information that came along with the case, information that I didn't create. It's information that's been posted. All I'm trying to do is decipher it. At the end of the day, prosecutors and defense attorneys love my research. That's not a joke. That's a fact. I'm not on anyone's payroll, but I will share my work with anyone. Gene Williams says, Walsh will get a second attorney to assist who likely has death penalty experience. If that's required, absolutely. But right now, Walsh is publicly claiming that the state's case doesn't make sense. And of course, that's what a defense attorney is going to say. And if he can't stick by that, then of course he's going to need a secondary share to help him with the death penalty experience. Yep, Fig Ferrari, Fig Fairy, Fairy. All my questions are in that probable cause affidavit. Absolutely. And in this case, a lot of people don't understand the importance of the probable cause. The probable cause is going to tell us, it's a storyline, how they got to the arrest, what William Oliver didn't do, where he was, what led to, you have to outline that for a judge to sign off on an arrest warrant and a search warrant. That's going to give us everything that we need to know. There's absolutely no reason for the probable cause affidavit to be sealed. So Kayla says, can I give a summary for those of us new to the case? Absolutely. So this is what I'll do. So this crime took place on a road called Abel Moody Road. It's in Wilmer, Alabama. It's a small, largely rural community located in Mobile County, Alabama, just northeast of the city of Mobile. I want to say Mobile, but it's Mobile. Sorry. Alabama, just northwest of the city of Mobile. It is an incorporated city, kind of like Delphi, Carroll County, meaning it does not have its own municipal government, and it is instead governed at the county level. The population is estimated to be around 10 to 12,000 residents, depending on the surrounding zip code area measured. Wilmer is known for its low population density, rural setting, and tight-knit community feel, with much of the area made up of residential homes, small local businesses, and open land. It sits along US Route 98 and serves as a quieter, more spread out area compared to nearby urban Mobile. The community is primarily working class with a medium age in the mid 30s and strong emphasis on family households and local schools. According to the sources, the Life 360 app showed Keziah Lurker's phone was activated in the middle of the night. So Keziah is the daughter of Lisa Fields. Keziah was 17. She was 8 months pregnant. She had an 18-month-old daughter, and the 18-month-old daughter and her 8-month-old unborn child had the same father. The father was working off coastline in Alaska, got a notification that her Life 360 app was showing indications of her moving late at night, and he was concerned. She was 8 months pregnant. He thought, oh my God, is she in labor? What's going on? He started to call. He got no answer. He then requested a family member to go over to the property and check on her. Specific details regarding the app notification include the trigger. The father of Keziah Lurker's 18-month-old daughter was working offshore when he noticed her phone was activated on the app. The alarm, he became concerned when he saw the activity, but was unable to reach her. The context is because Keziah was 8 months pregnant, he feared there might be a medical emergency related to the pregnancy. The result was his concern led another family member to check on the residence, where the victims were discovered at approximately 2 a.m. on Monday, April 20th. While the exact hour of the notification is not specific in the provided transcripts beyond the middle of the night, this activation was the primary reason authorities were eventually called to the scene. So there's a little bit of a recap. So let me say this. I have been able to clarify through people in the area and through dispatch calls. So the reason the timeline seems so convoluted is because of this. Around midnight, there were 911 calls placed because there were gunshots in the neighborhood. Law enforcement came out, drove around, could not pinpoint. Let me go a little bit further. There were 4 victims in this case. There was the mother, Lisa Fields, 46, 17-year-old Keziah, and she was pregnant, 8 months. That's a victim. That's 2 victims, Keziah and the baby that she was carrying. That's 2. Third was the 12-year-old son. The only one shot in the head was Keziah. She was shot in the head twice. Those gunshot sounds is what triggered the 911 calls. I heard gunshots. Law enforcement came out, could not figure out where the gunshots came from, so they left. That is where the 911 dispatching and when the bodies were actually found gets convoluted. So 911 was called. Law enforcement came out. They did a surveillance of the area, didn't see anything of, importance, and they left. Then the family member was called to check on the trailer because the boyfriend thought there was something going on, and he was absolutely correct. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, a family member discovered the victims. That's when the police was called a second time. For whatever reason, all of these phone calls, all of these 911 dispatching calls were convoluted. And that just goes for the normalcy of a small town. I don't know how else to explain it. It sounds like the timeline is fucked up. I get it. But when you put the pieces in place, that's what it breaks down to. I've spoken to people who have surveillance cameras in the area. They have confirmed with me that there were gunshots fired. 911 was called. Law enforcement patrolled the neighborhood. Nothing was seen. Nothing was found. Then they were called out later. You can believe me or you cannot. I'm not going to expose my sources because they feel that they would be in danger if their names and their relativity to this case was exploited. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just telling you what I've been told. And it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. So Mother of Dragons says, sheriff's office in the South are very different from other states. Florida is very good with FOIA, but if you thought Delphi, PD, and ISP were close to the vest, Mobile will be very close. They are. They're very close. Like, this is, I mean, Mother of Dragons, you know, I'm in it to the waist up. But this happens to be my first case that I've started to research in Alabama. And I have never seen a clerk's office or a docket as complicated as this. And everything, I mean, where I'm from, in the cases that I've covered, usually PCAs, documents, court filings are all $1 a piece. No. You have to pay money up front to even gain access to the public docket. And then you don't even know what you're buying. It says complaint, this, that, and a third. I think I have paid for like 8 documents and they're duplicates. It's bizarre to me. And that's why I reached out. I mean, the clerk's office is saying the probable cause affidavit is not sealed. And they even told me, well, you need to contact the sheriff's office and ask them to upload it. So I contact the sheriff's office and they said, oh, that needs to go to our legal department. That's going to require a subpoena. What? So what you're telling me as a law enforcement agency is that you can arrest anybody off the street. You can search their home without publicly giving a reason, legal or otherwise. That is a problem for me. Yeah, Crafty Bold. Okay, welcome to our world. Like, it's a huge case here because the sheriff who is handling the case is up for re-election on the 19th. So huge thing for that. I am completely familiar. We dealt with that in the Delphi case. We're still dealing with that in the Delphi case. If those of you who are listening who don't follow the Delphi case, mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, because that is a norm in these small counties who think they can get away with doing whatever the hell they want. And I'm not saying that William Oliver is innocent, by no means. I'm saying transparency is key. If you've got the right person, we don't need sealed documents. So Crafty's Bold says, I guarantee I'll come out after the 19th vote. Fig Fairy says, Mobile has a reputation. I heard about them on the Civil Rights Lawyers channel. Mother of Dragon says, they believe if it's an open investigation, they will not give it out. Well, you know what? Public pressure is a bitch. And this case is not as cut and dried as the state wants it to be. So let's dig in. Let's dig into, so I've gone through the recap. Let's talk about the victims. There were 3, in quotation marks, 4 victims, because Keziah was pregnant. She was 8 months pregnant, and that baby could have survived under the right medical conditions. However, 46-year-old Lisa Gale Fields, her 17-year-old pregnant daughter, Keziah, and 12-year-old son, Thomas T.J. Cordell, were found brutally murdered, their hands behind their backs with zip ties. An 18-month-old child, Keziah's toddler, was left unharmed inside the home. The killings, which also claimed the life of Keziah's unborn baby, have been described by investigators as a quadruple homicide. The bodies of the victims were discovered at approximately 2:30 a.m. on Monday, April 20th, 2026, inside their mobile home on Abel Moody Road in Wilmer. Abel Moody Road in Wilmer. The discovery was made by a relative after the partner of 17-year-old Keziah Luger, who was working offshore at the time, noticed unusual activity on the Life 360 app and asked a family member to check on her. Upon entering the residence, the relative found the victims and contacted authorities. Luger's 18-month-old daughter was found inside the home unharmed. That is the GoFundMe that I am looking for. If somebody in chat has a link to the GoFundMe to help the 18-month-old, I want to share it. That father is going to need help and support for his daughter, and he's already lost a girlfriend and his unborn child. That's the only GoFundMe that matters right now. Here are the 3 victims: Mom Lisa, Sakaya, 17 and 8 months pregnant, and 12-year-old TJ. This is the layout of the home. I have no information about where the victims were found. All we know is that each victim was zip tied in separate rooms. Lisa, the 46-year-old, was stabbed and her throat was cut. Sakaya, 8 months pregnant, was shot twice in the head. And the 12-year-old was almost decapitated, per the sheriff. What led to the arrest? I'm still going through the recap here, guys. What led to the arrest? Good old-fashioned police work, per the sheriff. Okay. But you want to see all the documents, so we don't know what's going on. Okay, fine. William Oliver, a friend of the family, according to Nathan Fields, the husband of Lisa Fields, claimed that this individual on the right-hand side here was a visitor of his wife's almost every single day, yet he didn't know his last name. Nathan Fields, you can't sit back and bitch and complain about what's being said when all we have are your words to go on. If you want to come on and speak, defend yourself, explain the scenario in a better way, the door is open. I've reached out to you. I've messaged you. I know you got my messages. You read them and you didn't respond. I respect that. I understand this is a trying time. But as time goes on, things are not going to get easier. I'm just giving you an opportunity to come on and explain who this man was to you, your wife, and kids. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Craft is Bold says, and this sheriff is a joke in my opinion. He doesn't wear a uniform. He wears button-up shirts and is lazy to me. Well, he arrested this man, and we want to know why. The why is the biggest question. Here are photographs of them serving the search warrant and pulling out bags of evidence. Now, we're getting into some new research. The community continues searching for answers. Residents and online communities alike remained focused on one central question: how such a brutal crime could occur involving a family with young children. While arrests have been made, many believe there are still substantial unanswered questions regarding motive, relationships, timelines, and possible additional knowledge held by others to the case, connected to the case. Taken straight from the mobile sheriff's mouth. Here's a quote taken from the sheriff's mouth. Potential drug connection. Sheriff Paul Birch stated that detectives were investigating whether the murders were connected to drugs. As the home appeared to have been searched, suggested a targeted search for something often associated with narcotics or theft. All I'm going to say about that is prior to these murders in years past, this home was raided. At the center of many conversations is the growing divide between verified facts and rapidly spreading rumors. This is fact. Residents close to the situation appear increasingly cautious about speaking publicly, with some expressing fear of retaliation, harassment, or community backlash. As a result, much of the information circulating remains fragmented, shared quietly through private conversations rather than official statements. Hi, raising my hand, pick me. Those are the private conversations that I'm having with numerous people. For many following the case, the unanswered questions continue to mount. What occurred during the hours leading to the murders? Were there warning signs overlooked beforehand? And how much did people surrounding the household truly know before law enforcement made arrests? Until more evidence is publicly released, those questions remain unsolved. So, based on those paragraphs of information, leave your questions in the chat so I can address them. So the 17-year-old had an 18-month-old child. Yes, she did. How old is the boyfriend? I know he is not a suspect, but she was a very young mother. She was. And the boyfriend was working offshore in Alaska at the time of this incident.
Do you have any more of those anti-inflammatories? I need like 3 of them. That's fucked up.
Okay, I'll get them to you. Hold on. Give me a second. Michelle says, I'm trying to sort through the facts and the gossip. We lost you. No, I'm here. I just muted to give because I feel like everybody's Wi-Fi is different, and I have to give everybody time to post their questions or their statements. That's where I'm at, and I'm trying to be even keeled here. I'm trying to give everybody equal opportunity to come on. And they don't owe me an explanation. I mean, that's a fact. So anybody who says that, I'm being intrusive. No, I'm not. I'm not being intrusive. I'm giving everyone the opportunity to come on and speak. I've been down this rabbit hole before with cases that spiral out of control. And all I'm trying to do is report the facts. And right now, all I can do, if people close-knit don't want to speak out, I don't blame them. They're going through a lot. But at the same time, there's a lot of information floating around, and some of it is completely false. Some of it is factual. And I'm responsible enough to report the facts, and I'm giving people the opportunity to come on and report the facts. If they don't, I'm only left with what's put online to speculate about. So Michelle is saying, where was the stepfather? If you're talking about Lisa Fields' husband, Nathan Fields, he was reportedly overseas as well. But he did an interview where he discusses communicating with Lisa, his wife, at 6:21. And they were texting, apparently. And then like 20 minutes later, he called her and she didn't answer. And during his interview, he says, I knew then something was wrong. Well, law enforcement reports that William Oliver, the suspect, was seen at the property around 7:30. We don't have any other information than that he was seen at the property at 7:30. But if the husband, Nathan Fields, communicated with Lisa at 6:21, and then 20 minutes later, which would be 6:41, he felt something was wrong. Why? Were you anticipating something being wrong? If you thought something was wrong, did you not make a phone call to a family member local? Because Keziah's boyfriend, when he thought something was wrong, he in fact did that. He sent his stepfather over to investigate and check on his girlfriend, who was 8 months pregnant and the mother of his child. But the husband, Mobile, thanks, Mother of Dragons. I have a tongue ring. So I sometimes mobile, it all gets convoluted. Sorry. But, and I'm not like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to blame the husband. Bottom line, in a criminal murder case, a homicide involving a wife who has a husband, the husband is always the first to be investigated. Okay, so from where I stand, I want to give this person the benefit of the doubt. I want to make sure that his rights are protected. He's not ostracized by law enforcement or a prosecutor, regardless of his past. But at the end of the day, when he returned to Wilmer, Alabama, he did not make a great case for himself. And on top of that, I have information regarding drug trafficking out of that home at all hours of the night. Apparently, it never stopped. Even when Nathan was out of town working, it never stopped. People were coming and going nonstop. And that's coming from people who live in the area. There was also a raid on the property years before the murder, but well after Nathan was arrested in Texas for his meth charge. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me now? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but Jesus, I don't even know where I started. Sorry, guys. So anyway, what I was saying was I have offered everybody closely associated with this case to come on and speak. And I understand a lot of people are not familiar with being in the spotlight like this. The majority of you in chat know that this happens, but I would rather have insight into factual information versus speculation. And I joined this Facebook group for Lisa Fields and the family, and I feel like all I've done has been attacked. I discussed the probable cause affidavit, what the importance of it was, and how it breaks down why the arrest was made, the search warrant happened, and people were just, bashing me like, just wait for the trial. And I'm like, okay, this is a case discussion group. Are we here not to discuss the case? Okay, so I will, from here on out, continue to discuss the case in my group so I don't have to worry about being attacked. And I know that everybody in my group and those who join my group know that they can discuss the case without being attacked. Anywho, there has been so many rumors and so much speculation around this case that it reminds me, and for all of you who follow Delphi, you get it. So hi, meet Ariel Bowling. Who is Ariel Bowling in this case? She is William Oliver's current wife. And she's attempting to maintain normalcy despite the intense public attention surrounding the case. Some observers reportedly found it unusual that daily routines appeared to continue with little visible disruption. Friends allegedly described an atmosphere where serious allegations hung in the background, yet little was openly acknowledged. Ariel thinks those around her do not know that her husband was just arrested for a quadruple murder. This contrast between the gravity of the crimes and outward behavior has become another source of speculation within the community. The current wife is pretending this is not happening. So, Gene Williams says she's his daughter, not the wife. No, that's not true. She is the wife. They have been together for over 8 years. There is a marriage license. There are multiple kids, 2 of them being hers and the youngest one being hers and Williams. She lives in the home. Yeah, she's only 35 and he's only 50 something. There's probably a filter on the photo, correct. This is the current wife. This is why when I showed, okay, hold on. I'm going to show you. Give me a second. Okay. Hold on. Yes, the marriage license is public. There are 3 little kids involved, and one of them are his. And I know based on friend reports and people who know her, who know what's going on behind the scenes, she is going about her daily business, her daily life, pretending that her husband just wasn't arrested for this murder, this quadruple murder, which is bizarre as fuck. But this right here, so I hired this guy, William Bowling Oliver. Bowling is her last name. He is William Graham Oliver. So I hired this guy, William Bowling Oliver, bullshit, that I have had do some work for me a few times. This time I hired him to fix my roof. I've never had an issue with him before now. He cut the tree down over the house the week before Christmas, and I gave him the money to get the materials to complete the job and to do the roof, and he has been ignoring my calls since then. I spoke with his wife, and at first she said that she would return my money to me Friday. When Friday came, she switched the story, was saying that he did some work that he was not compensated for, and that's a lie. I just want my money back. I'm filing a report tomorrow, but I'm putting this out here to make others aware not to use him because he's a thief and a scammer. There is more to the story. I may go on TikTok and share it, but share this for me, please. I want to call my cousin to handle him. Trying to be nice and got walked, but I promise I'm not letting up. Ariel Bowling is the wife. Mandy, okay, so I'm going to tell you where Mandy lives because apparently, just for GP, general purposes, does anybody here in the chat know where Mandy lives? Where does Mandy live? They divorced years ago, apparently. Where does Mandy live? Does anybody want to speak out? Thank you, Nap. Thank you, Nap, for sharing it. Hey, guys, I'm posting right now the most important part of this live stream, which is the GoFundMe for the 18-month-old. Thank you, Nap, for sharing it to me in a private message, but the link is now in the chat. I will post it on my Facebook page, on my Facebook group, and on my community page on YouTube. But there is the chat to support the 18-month-old and her father. So just to show you guys, because I haven't been shown any grace, even after MK Nap, thank you freaking so much for sharing that. So, yeah, well, she and Lisa Fields, Craftsy Bold, she and Lisa Fields started the independent company, landscaping company called Blow and Go. I don't know what happened with it, but the two of them did it together. And all I know is that I reached out to Mandy because Nathan Fields, husband of Lisa Fields, threw her under the bus. And I offered her the opportunity to come on and give her side of the story, defend herself, because immediately after her ex-husband was arrested, she deleted her Facebook. Now she's back online. And I thought, hey, I only want to deal with the facts in this case. I want to squash all the rumors, just like I'm trying to explain to you. The timeline is not really as convoluted as we thought it was. There were 911 calls made because there were shots fired in the neighborhood. The police came out. They didn't find anything. Then at 2 a.m., a family member was asked to check on the home, and that's when the victims were found. So that doesn't mean law enforcement got it wrong. It just means that they don't owe us any kind of clarification. They report it as they report it. But at the same time, in a situation like this, when there's 4 victims, you want to hold the authorities accountable, and you want to make sure that justice is served, not just for the victims, but for the family of the victims. So I reached out to Mandy Evans, who was the one and only person who spoke out to media about her friendship with Lisa Fields and how sad she was that her friend and her friend's children didn't deserve this. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you the response I got. Are you guys ready? Because this is very pleasant. So right here on the right-hand side, can you guys see that? The chat on the right-hand side, Mandy Evans. I said, hi, Mandy. I'm very sorry about the loss of your friend and her babies. I've been covering this case on my channel. If you have any message or statement you would like to make, I will make sure to share it. If not, I understand that as well. I can only imagine how you're handling things with everything going on. It's a horrible tragedy for sure. Her response to me was this. Oh, you're the lady my daughter told me about, the one blasting my address online. The address Bill never lived at. That lady. Since you're covering this on your channel, I'm sure you've heard the latest. Think before you speak, lady. That's how rumors get started. Your actions have caused a lot of unnecessary traffic by my house. What's your address so I can let viewers know where you live? And I said, my response to her was, I did not blast your address. You must be talking about Moffat. I'm sorry if that was your address. It was literally the address on the arrest report for Bill. I simply explained the documents. Those docs were floating all over the place. I don't deal in rumors. I work for multiple organizations and alongside attorneys. I live in Columbus, Ohio, if you need to know. I'm attempting to clarify facts. I'm offering you the opportunity to set the facts straight. With a case in this infancy, I think the issues will only get worse. Nathan threw you under the bus, which started the rumor mill. If you don't wish to communicate with me, that's fine. It's an opportunity to set everyone straight. If not, I respect that as well. You may want to contact the sheriff's office and the prosecutor and tell them the address that was listed on his arrest report is incorrect. Your name was not affiliated with the address associated with Bill. So I'm unsure why law enforcement would put that address in their report. And then I sent her copies of the report, and she has not responded. Yes, William and Ariel live with William's mom, so the both will be witnesses. Well, all I can tell you is what I know, and that is the address provided on all of the arrest warrant, the complaint warrants, was all the Moffett address. Never was it stated that Mandy Evans lived there. It was reported that Bill Williams, or William Graham Oliver, aka Bill, that Moffett Road was his address. All I did was share the documents that are easily publicly accessed, and I described what they were. So apparently I'm Cruella de Vil, because I shared a court document that had an address on it that apparently she lives at, and she thought I was blasting her address. Not the case. Gave her the opportunity to come on, discuss things. She was completely willing to go on national news media and talk about her friendship with Lisa. But now all of a sudden, she's angered. I get it. Shit like this can really destroy friendships and family. I get it. That doesn't make the case go away. It doesn't make what I do here go away. This is a very toxic case with a lot of things that don't make sense. And when a prosecutor's office decides to seal documents that would give a lot of information out to the public to prevent conspiracy theories, speculation, people arguing amongst themselves, family members being pitted against themselves, release the fucking documents. Get it out in the open. If you're confident in your case, shit doesn't need to be hidden. In fact, legally, these things are designed for public consumption. The public has the right to know when you swoop someone off the street, you arrest them, you search their home, you have an obligation to society to explain how you came to that authority. But until people start speaking out and holding law enforcement and public officials like a prosecutor accountable, just keep accepting the same. So next, Mommy Wolverine. Hi, Mommy Wolverine. Just taking a break from watching the Vault episodes to say hi. My brain is too small to dive into another case. No, girl, you need to expand. We need you here. So, moving on. I have reached out to Nathan. I gave him an opportunity to come on. He never responded, which is okay. We're going to discuss the scrutiny that he's put himself in, or scrutiny of the spotlight that he's put himself in. And I'm really trying hard to understand. And I'm not, none of us are the same. I know that when people talk about experiencing their worst day and trying to throw that in the face of others, like you would never understand someone's worst day, especially in a situation like this, all I can say is I've experienced that worst day. Literally, I have experienced that worst day. And I might be different than other people's worst day. I know I've talked about this on other lives covering other cases and how people remember events differently and how things get embedded in the brain differently. All I know is what I've experienced. And I lost my sister, my baby sister, in 2007. And it was my worst day. I know exactly where I was standing when I got the phone call. My mother lived with me at the time. My mother lived with me for 12 years. And I remember walking into my kitchen and she's Windexing off my counter. And off the cuff, because it wasn't sinking in at the moment, that my sister was in an accident and was non-responsive. And I walked into the kitchen and I said, Mom, I just got a phone call. But my mom already knew something was wrong. And she hadn't told me because my mom was on the phone with my sister when it happened. My sister was in a domestic violent relationship. And it had been going on for years. Long story short, it had been going on for years, to the point that my sister's husband had pulled a gun on my mother when my mother came out to pick my sister up, to bring her out to my house, to get her out of the situation. And my mom walked in and there was a gun put to her head and she was told to turn around and walk out the door. And my sister said, Mom, you just need to go. There was a lot of things that happened in between that moment and the moment of my sister's death. But my sister was beaten to a pulp. And how she got out of the house that day, I don't know, but she did. And she got out of that house with her car keys, got in the car, and didn't even get literally a quarter mile from her home. He was chasing her in his car, ran her off the road, and her car cartwheeled through a field, and she was ejected through the sunroof. So when someone talks about someone's worst day, I know exactly what they're talking about. I was there. I remember it moment by moment. I think that's one of the only days of my life that for a 24-hour period, I can tell you where I was every minute of the day. Not because of anything other than the fact that I was trying to hold it together for everybody else. Her 3 boys that immediately were separated because they had different fathers, and because my mother was not mentally in the right frame of mind to deal with a funeral, and the fact that she lost a child. I don't know. I remember the worst day. So for those of you who are questioning my understanding of someone's worst day, I'm telling you, I fully know what someone's worst day is. And I will never forget walking through Macy's, bawling my eyes out while I was picking out an outfit for my sister's funeral, or sitting at the director's table at the funeral home, arguing with her piece of shit husband about her casket, where she was going to be buried. Your worst day, I'm there, been there. I get it. And your worst day is not this. That is Nathan Fields hanging on, AKA his friend, at a bar prior to funerals. This woman that he's hanging on in this video, who claims to be a friend of the family, arrived at the funeral and was kicked out by the family. And then I'm going to leave you all with this, because she wants us to know.
Calls about videos. So I'm addressing the videos. I'm tired of telling everybody individually. So I've done it 857 times and trying to get down to 3 minutes, and it started out way too long. So I'm trying to condense this, and it kind of worked out because I kind of hooked it emotionless. I didn't want to post something angry or upset, or anyway. It's a Lifetime movie, this situation, okay? So we can understand these videos. I'm a friend. I show up to help. I'm friends with the family. It's a horrible tragedy. Was the first person you suspect, the husband. Everybody suspects the husband. You're supposed to look at the husband first. I mean, it's the first suspect. So me sitting over the house looked bad because nobody else was over there. I got that. I felt kind of the same way, and I have no problem respecting that boundary, no matter how my friend felt about it. So I left him sitting for a couple of days and felt guilty. So it was like, okay, well, how do I be emotionally supportive and not be behind boundaries that's going to make anybody else uncomfortable? Well, I'll just go do what I normally do. I'll go hang out with my friend at work, go to karaoke with the same people I do at the same place that I wasn't the same place because she's moved, changed jobs. Anyway, but I mean, same people. And I was on that my buddy hadn't slept in 4 days and was living off of a liquid diet. I realized that once it was English. That's what he speaks. I swear it was English, but it was no sense. He gone. Stayed up so late that he was not functioning. So I really don't appreciate the phone over the bar like this, that I didn't even make it out of the car with him before we were getting phone calls. Okay? The video y'all saw of us laughing was me explaining to him that I didn't think that it was him, and that, he never retaliated with me when I was a kid, and I was mean to him. I could holler, and his mom would spank him anytime I wanted, and he was never mean to me, and he should have been. So, and that's what you saw, all the laughing. And then I finally allowed myself to cry, and this is where all them people, I was like, please don't comment, comment. How many of y'all saw me hold my breath and not? I couldn't cry. How many of y'all have witnessed everything that I'm saying? I said, y'all, this is y'all's turn. All you people that want to defend me, let's do that now. How many people? Okay, so I had just cried, and that was him consoling me, him consoling himself, and me texting his daughter that he needed to come get God. That's what you saw. Squash the videos, please. And, I don't know who, I haven't looked at it. I refuse to entertain it, but I don't know who posted it, and so I'm hoping I'm not offending the wrong person. But that was shit. You should have walked across the bar and asked questions. By God, you should have walked across the bar and said something. You don't broadcast crap like that. You don't take someone's worst day and make it a spectacle. That is so ugly. I'm gonna tell every single one of my kids, it's my kids, and my kids that ain't my kids. I better not ever catch y'all doing no videos and crap like that and being sneaky, okay? Just be like, next time, just be like, I'm videoing you, I'm seeing, you know, don't be sneaky about it. Try to handle it with some privacy, because this is crap, and this has nothing to do with the situation, and everybody's attention needs to be focused on that.
Okay.
They escorted me out of the funeral. And it's all right, because the women that I came and helped clean, everybody that I encountered, I saw it in the face, and I didn't need to see them. Okay, I'm too sensitive. I'm sensitive. I know y'all don't know me, but half of everybody does. Y'all don't realize you know me, really. So, that's what went on. Make it look as least amount of possible. Go about your business. Just be like, hey, come hang out over here in the public, so they're not upset. I'm not going to say anything to anybody's face. I'm going to be super sweet and act like it didn't happen. But if I catch you doing something like that to me or anybody that I care about again, I'm going to say something. I'm not going to be scary. I don't want nobody to be nervous, but you're not going to do this again without me being like, she's videoing. She's making everybody look at her. So, I'm sorry. I don't need to say anything to make you feel bad about what you've done, I don't think. But to everybody else, that's what was going on. Please, everybody, back me up. If you don't mind. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. But I know there's a couple that want to speak. So there's that. Caught me crying for the first time after holding my breath doing something I shouldn't have been able to do emotionally, but I was going to for this family and for that woman and for them kids. And I did it. I didn't even know I had it in me. That's what you saw in my first break, and then you saw me distracting someone off of misery. Way to go. This makes me proud of my kids, really. Try to pay attention to what you're doing and how you're affecting other people. Please. To the videographer. Because, I mean, I know who you are, and it's all right. I'm not going to be like, what can you do? It's done. But I want you to feel bad for what you've done. And next time I would appreciate you handling it with like an adult with responsibility. Okay? And not stir the pot. Or, you're going to have to lick the spoon. There's y'all's explanation about the videos, guys. I didn't know if I should speak or if I should shut up. So I apparently have screwed up the whole time trying to not screw up. So why not? Now, young, add this video to the collection. Let's see if that happens though. Cause somebody like piggyback that so they get like the crap and then the explanation. Cause you don't do this mess with this serious situation. That was awful. You don't do this crap. You handle it right. And if you got to sneak around to do it, then you shouldn't be doing it. Y'all have a better day today.
That cleared it all up for you guys, didn't it? So yeah, currently that's where this case is stalling out. She felt the need to come on and babble. And then people in her camp came on and attacked everybody who commented on the video saying, okay, this is ridiculous. You're not making any sense. You are supposedly a friend of not only Nathan, but also Lisa's, and then you get kicked out of the funeral. So after all the comments happened, the video was deleted. But fortunately, I kept a window open on my laptop where I had watched the video. So the video was still there. If I had exited out of it, I would never have been able to retain it. So I had to use my phone and video the video off my computer screen. But this is the video that she's telling everybody that needs to be squashed. That's the husband. And if I'm listening to her correctly, she was gracious enough to go to the trailer and clean the trailer so he could move back in. And I have it on good authority from people in the area that he is absolutely living back in the trailer where his wife, his stepdaughter, her unborn child, and the 12-year-old were unalived. And here I am, still leaving the door open for him to come on and speak and tell us or give us answers to all of the questions that the community has. We want to know about the timeline. We want to know motive. If William Graham Oliver did this, why would he do this? What is his explanation? And I'm sorry, but under these circumstances, people can say, well, he doesn't owe anybody an explanation. Well, he's got 4 lives hanging in the balance. And a family friend is reportedly the suspect who committed these crimes. He doesn't feel the need to even explain why he thinks that the arrest is correct. Like this, William Oliver did this emphatically without being hired, without being prompted, without there being some underhanded deal. I mean, this William Oliver is married to a woman who has 3 little kids, one of them reportedly being his. She's going about her life like none of this is happening. She thinks that none of her friends know that she's married to a man who was just arrested for a quadruple homicide. That's bizarre. Why would anybody think that? How do we get here? It's all insane. And I wish the prosecutor's office would stop hiding the ball and release the documents so we have a little bit more of an understanding as to why they honed in on William Oliver. And at the same time, I would love to hear from the defense attorney in this case as to why or as to what William Oliver's defense is. And if he committed this crime, what was the motive? Jean, yeah, she's definitely, she's on something. She's rambling and calls Lisa that woman. She's lying because she's adding irrelevant information. I don't know. Amy Ward is more than welcome to come on here and discuss the situation. I would rather provide facts than speculation. But right now, they're posting, they're putting up videos, they're doing all of these things, raising more questions. And I'm trying to weed through the facts and the rumors and the bullshit. Like, what is real? What's not real? Everybody in that surrounding area is familiar with the house where this crime occurred. Everybody is messaging me and telling me that it is a fact that that house was operating 24 hours a day. People in the surrounding area are talking about people who were addicted to drugs, who got their drugs from that address, whether Nathan was there or not. Now, on the flip side, we have Nathan, who was arrested in Texas years ago, served time, was on parole. I believe he's exhausted his parole, got his life together, and he said the only way to stay clean is to stay clean. Kudos to him. So, you've kind of left yourself out in the open by creating a Tinder account and being seen in a bar with probably a good friend who we just watched, but you don't want to come on and talk about it. I mean, I get it. I get it. I'm just giving you an opportunity, and this is an opportunity that you'll probably never get with the prosecutor's office or the defense team. Because if William Oliver is truly the culprit in this crime, when push comes to shove, he will more than likely take a guilty plea with the death penalty being taken off the table. He will plead guilty, and then the truth will never come out. Kathy says, I'm here for the children. Absolutely. Drugs and drug trafficking involvement in this case, Delphi and Idaho. It's all ridiculous. Fig Fairy says, that looked like neck smooching to me. I don't know what she said. Now, okay, like let's give her the benefit of the doubt. She is on her phone. She said she was upset and she was texting his daughter. I'm not sure which daughter, but she was texting his daughter and saying, you need to come and get dad. That may be. But this is all escalated out of control. And I'm here to provide a platform for him to clear it up. I mean, I don't know what else to do other than to report what we're seeing. And that doesn't even get into Lisa and Nathan's kids. All of the charges stemming from that property, that household, those names, Fields and Lurker, Nathan Leon Jr. Fields, kidnapping charge, 2nd degree. Damian Eugene Lurker, kidnapping, 2nd degree. I'm still trying to track down the details of that case. The only thing that I can assume is that they are minors, so the records are not public. And these could be bogus charges, but both of the older sons of both Lisa and Nathan, there's deep criminal activity within this family. And unfortunately, when you have a quadruple murder, you are dealing with being put on, you're being put on blast. And I try to do it professionally. I try to do it fair reporting, but at the same time, you're not going to attack me and expect me not to respond. Mandy Evans, who blasted me and said a bunch of horrible things because law enforcement listed her address as William Oliver's home address. That's not my fault. That's public record. So it is what it is. So that's all I got, guys. Herbal healing. Lisa's TT says herbal healing, which suggests weed. And you know what? I mean, you can sell all the weed you want. But at the same time, you don't, when shit goes down in the worst way, you tell the truth. You don't lie. You don't point the finger at everybody else. If you're working in Alaska, overseas, across shore, and this happens, you come home and you tell the fucking truth. You don't come home and pretend, thank God, my wife and her kids are out of the picture. Let me start a Tinder account and let me go hang out at a bar and grope on this woman. And right now, whether that's actually what you did, the public optics is that's exactly what you did. I'm not making that up. That is circulating over every single page covering this case. All I'm trying to do is clarify what is what. And if you're going to go online and you're going to post comments and cuss people out and call them liars and say everybody owes you an apology, or Amy is on here doing 15-minute videos trying to explain away the video of you and her, being entangled in a bar. Okay, so what's the problem? You can't come on and speak and clarify things with real questions and real definitive answers. I respect that, but then don't expect us, the community, to not report what's put out there in the public forum, period. I mean, it's a choice. And I'm not here to judge anybody, but there are 4 people, brutally murdered, and it's sad. And right now, here, let me pull this back up. Jesus Christ. This is the most important thing right now, to be honest. This little baby girl and her daddy right here, please copy and paste this link and share it. It doesn't look like a lot of people have donated to this GoFundMe. And hold on, let me share it. This little girl has lost her mom and her unborn sibling, and her daddy is here. Look, $130. That's all that's been raised on this case to help him support her. You're talking a man, apparently, he's working overseas in Alaska, keeping tabs on his pregnant girlfriend in Alabama, sees suspicious activity on her Life 360 app, makes sure that she's checked on. He's lost her. He's lost his unborn child. He's now full-time caregiver of this little girl right here. This is the most important thing right now. Help this young man take care of his daughter. That's all I have to say. I'll be back next week, hopefully with more updates as more people come forward and have things to say. Maybe Mandy Evans will come on and give me, she's accusing me of putting her address on blast, which I didn't do. Law enforcement did. Why William Oliver address on his arrest report, the complaint, and his search warrant would say Moffat, I don't know. Her name was never associated on public record with any of that. Nathan Fields, please step up. Amy Ward, whose videos we watched tonight. The invitation is open to anyone. All we want are the facts. And if we have to wait until this case goes to trial and it appears that Alabama does allow cameras in the courtroom, we'll cover it. So in the meantime, please be sure to support this man and his little baby girl. And that's all I got. Love you, Kathy. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Mother of Dragons, all of my mods, everybody for being here. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, share the video. I'll see you next week.